I pretty much stayed in the academic world. When I first I stepped out of college, I worked for a year in an advertising firm, which was a great experience just because I learned how to, kind of think on my feet and like serve a lot of different people who wore a lot of different hats in a kind of a work environment. And that involved, writing copy and thinking about design and photos and just basically doing whatever needed to be done on that particular day. In an ad firm. It was a very small, you know, small firm, and it was connected to a law firm. So I was just doing everything, which was a great thing, but it was just for a year. And I knew, I just at that point really did think that I wanted to go to film school because and I've always had a bit of a creative, side. And so I thought that I wanted to do more of the technical stuff. But as I went to visit film schools, and this is what I really always tell people as they're trying to kind of find if they want to go into an academic environment, is that you should go visit, um, because every place has a vibe, like every place has a feel. And as I went to various film schools, I just knew that like the film schools were not right for me for each individual reason. And the feedback that I was getting from the students that were there was kind of confirming that for me. But as soon as I went to this program, this master's program in women's studies, the faculty were kind of right on, the vibe was right, and the classes were fantastic. And also it just so happened that, speaking of mentors, that Laura Mulvey was going to be a visiting professor there for 1 year, the first year that I was there. And she's somebody who wrote one of the most, influential essays in feminist film theory, which is called Visual Pleasure and Narrative Cinema. So and she wrote that in the 1970s. But she was, there at Ohio State in the 1990s. She'd written a lot of scholarships since then. So she was somebody that I was able to TA for. I was a teaching assistant for her and just learned a great deal about feminist theory. So I kind of it's almost like a crash course, really intense, fast, learning in all kinds of theory, really, because she also did psychoanalysis. And what I would say is, in terms of your question about kind of how I knew what I wanted to do, what really got me was teaching, because one of the things that came with that master's program was an assistantship where you immediately had your own class as an assignment was solo teaching. And I just, at that point, it was like women's studies courses as well as women in film courses. And so I was also writing a thesis. So I was writing my own original work, which also sparked a fire for me. And I saw that that had a creative side to it. If you want, to be creative as you're kind of generating theory and academic writing, you can be creative. So yeah, but teaching was fantastic because to me, you really are, if you want to teach in a particular way, you really can hopefully help, change people's minds, open people's perspectives, give people like a little bit of a way of thinking about things. And so that was what I went into my PhD for, and then the teaching career and to be a professor.